Well, well, well. Back again so soon. You know, in my last video I said that, so apart from any potential option cards, that's pretty much it? I guess not, since when I was making that last video, Bandai decided to drop a brand new Dark Tyrannomon and Metal Tyrannomon. Thanks, Bandai, it's not like I need the help making myself look like an absolute tool, but thanks, really, really appreciate it. No, seriously, thanks. Oh well. So, or the day today, have a look at the new cards, talk a bit more over Tyranno X, and finally some extra deck thoughts I've had. While all of this is going to be going over ground that's been gone over before, it'd be remiss of me to not at least go over it myself to finish this little series off. Also, gives me a chance to throw my 2 cents in at the same time. First on the discussion block is the new EX8 Dark Tyrannomon, a green-purple level 4 with 5k DP and a 3 cost Digivolution cost over the same colors. Additionally, it's got a special 2 cost Digivolution over a reptile, continuing the trend established by the EX8 Tyrannomon, with its party trick being an on Digivolution and on play suspend one tamer, and one of their tamers can't unsuspend until the end of their turn. Wrapping it all off, we have Inherited Retaliation. Carrying on from the new Virus Augmon, it gives some very welcome in-archetype tamer hate, with being able to shut down activating tamers such as BT16 Davis Ken, and Structure Deck Tai, and obviously EX7 Shoto. Likewise, with it being an on-play ability as well, means that you can just hard drop it in pass turn and lock your opponent from possible gaining extra value from their tamers. The Inherited Retaliation is a bit of a downer, not because it's bad, but it's the exact same as the Agumon. It's good there's an extra source for it, but if you have both in the same stack, it can feel a bit lacking and redundant. I feel that this is going to be a tech choice, as the level 4 slot is going to be very competitive, both in terms of your regular Tyrannos, but also figuring out for Tyranno X. Also, it'll come down to what kind of other decks are most prominent at the same time, since right now we're in a very tamer heavy meta with all the frontier focus from the likes of Ancient Greymon, Ancient Garurumon, and all the others. Moving up the chain, we have the new EX08 Metal Tyrannomon, a greenback level 5 with 7k DP and a 7 play cost, digivolving for 4 over a green or black source, and in true fashion, a special 3 cost from a dinosaur trait Digimon. Now, the wall of text. You may suspend one Digimon. Then, if this Digimon is suspended, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, and this Digimon isn't returned to hand or deck by an opponent's effect, and isn't affected by de-digivolve effects until the end of your opponent's turn. That's a lot to take in. So not only does it suspend something on board, if it suspends itself or digivolves on attack, it'll de-digivolve something, but also provide protection against that same effect, but also protect from bounce effects both to hand or deck. Lastly, it possesses the same inheritable from its BT11 counterpart to trash security when deleting an opponent's Digimon, a massive upgrade over its BT11 counterpart, giving access not only to balance and digivolve protection, it also gives in archetype access to digivolve, which when used correctly can be incredibly impotent, both in terms of sniping out aces or weakening potentially challenging stacks. It can also prevent your opponent from going into an ace play by changing the levels of their active Digimon. The biggest issue I can see with this card is that in order to proc both its defensive and offensive effects, it needs to be suspended. So best case scenario is you're going into him when attacking and you're able to trigger multiple attack Digivolutions to carry you through both level 5 and level 6. For as it stands, there's not a lot of ways to get them to re-stand if you decide to suspend them under a normal Digivolution. Now that's not to say that this is a bad card. Far from it. This is a very good card. It just requires a better degree of planning than, let's say, EX8 Master Tyrannomon. I can definitely say that this is probably going to be the main or secondary level 5 of the archetype. It also gives a little hope into what potential Rust support might be like, if that ever comes to pass. Now, last, but by certainly no means least, I went over them a little bit in the last video, but now it's time to put a proper spotlight on Tyranno X. Premiering from Tamer Battle Pack number 25 is a green-red level 4 with a play cost of 6 and a Digivolution cost of 3 over a red or green Digimon, boasting 6k DP and can Digivolve for 0 over a level 4 with Tyrannomon in its name. This means that includes Dark Tyrannomon in that pool. Its first major draw is that it has Raid, as a base ability without any stipulation, giving us access to some strong aggressive tech to catch out any unsuspecting Digimon. Its other ability is its major party trick. When attacking, if this Digimon has the X antibody or Digimon with Tyrannomon in its name, then it can digivolve into a card with Tyrannomon in its name or the dinosaur trait with a cost reduced by 1. This is a massive threat multiplier for the archetype, giving it access to Ryutaro's ability into itself, which means if you have one on field, you can activate it for effect for another on-attack Digivolution, which means under the right circumstances, such as starting with BT-14 Tyrannomon and having Ryutaro on field, you could jump into Dinomon for 3 cost. Oh, on top of all that, it has piercing. So whatever you swing into with Raid, as long as you overpower it and survive, you can check security. I'm pretty sure I'm not saying anything new here when I say this is going to be a 4. The sheer power and value that this gives the deck can't be understated. It can be setup intensive, wanting to make sure you've got either X antibodies or level 4s to go on top of, which can lead to some analysis paralysis. However, this card is such a boon for the deck and archetype that some should always be included. The biggest hurdle is probably getting a hold of them, as it is a promo. It has been announced as being a Tamer Battle Pack card, though we'll have to wait on the English announcements of where it'll end up. Now that we've had a quick overview of the last set of cards for the archetype, one of the things which is going to be important for playing the deck is which is more favorable to it, to the deck and playstyle. Boosted memory, with the gem boost and other such cards, or cost reduction cards such as trainings and scrambles. Now both these options have search elements to them, however what I'm wanting to focus on is this. Will it be better to reduce the cost of a Digivolution pour starting the combo, or have a surplus of memory? Both Tyranno X and Ryutaro really emphasize digivolving when attacking, which doesn't work with trainings or scramble cards. These cards state that they can only be used directly before the Digivolution, so they can be used to reduce the cost of going from one level to another, saving on Digivolution's cost before the attack swing, while the other is to use a boost card to give yourself an extra amount of memory before going full swing. To me, I think it's going to come down to how important you feel that on-attack Digivolution is. Additionally, a lot of this is going to be reliant on card draw, on what you have in your hand, and on field. So building up your field and resources will be crucial for getting the deck going. To me at this juncture, I'm planning to include 2 copies of Garnet Memory Boost in the deck. The reasoning is that Garnet, being able to search a red or black Digimon, is going to cover the vast majority of the Digimon in the deck. Also, with being a red card, means that it can be used while with the likes of BT-14 Cormon and the new EX8 version in Raising Area, being either red or green dual colors in the case of the new Tyrannomon green-black. Likewise, I prefer searching 3 over 4 with a 1 pick, as it feels it lessens the chance of bottom decking something important. Granted, the Garnet Memory Boost doesn't cover the likes of Tamers or option cards, only letting you grab a Digimon of those 2 colors, but I feel still with only picking 3, you should be able to get what you need without having to sacrifice an important piece. Lastly, I like having that backup of +2 memory ready for I need it. Additionally, it covers playing Tamers and option cards as well as Digivolution cost. Well, what a long, strange trip it's been. Yet, we've come to the end of it. And outside of any support in BT20 or future sets, we have our most concise look at the archetype and how it's designed to play. Though it'll need to see actual playtime to see how it truly works, I'm just glad we've gone to this point. Rust Tyrannomon was the first deck I wanted to build since the game came out, and ever since then the archetype just languished, never getting that something to make it work. So not only has this set done that, really solidifying its playstyle, but also introducing one of my new favorite Digimon of all time in Dinomon. It's crazy to think that we had our first previews of this all the way back in August. And I know online and on YouTube we're seeing unboxings from the JP side of it, and our release is going to be at the start of January, fingers crossed. And likewise, I'm pretty sure this deck isn't going to be the strongest. I'm sure there'll be some blue, purple, yellow abomination that'll come out and sweep the floor with every deck in the format, and we'll just sort of grumble about it until the next thing comes along. But I'm happy with this. I don't think I've ever been this hyped for a set since BT11 with Black War X. And we'll see if that ever gets support again. Now, all that's really left is start cracking packs, leaving them up, and playing them. As I said, January has never felt so far away, even though it's only a month or 2 out. My next video I've got planned will hopefully be an unboxing of EX8 when it launches. And after that, well, we'll need to see what the future holds. I might take a crack at making a match video or see what new cards or anything else takes my fancy. But until then, thank you as always for taking the time out to have a watch, have a listen, or whatever of this video. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, may you find peace through gaming.